What's the rudest or meanest thing a stranger has said to you that still bothers you today? I was a freshman in college and feeling very out of my element. I was a relatively fat, nerdy, depressed girl in a rural college and felt out of place because of it. It was a relatively small program, so I had nearly the same people in all my classes. It was something like 6 months in and I seemed to get along okay with everyone. After class one day I asked a classmate, what if we were assigned any homework in physics the day before, as I had missed it. She stopped, looked at me and said, "You know no one likes you, right?" and walked away. That hurt. It still ducking hurts. I thought that we were adults and had left this high school shit behind us. I realized that I wasn't friends with my classmates. I wasn't invited to their parties and the like, but I didn't think they actively disliked me. After this comment I did. It really made me self-conscious and withdraw even deeper into myself. I did gymnastics from age 6 to 18, competitively from 10 on, but I was never a skinny girl or built for gymnastics. I was always tall and chubby when young. I worked my butt off though because it was my passion. At a meet when I was 13 or 14, one of the coaches for another competitor walked by me and over to lady, I'm assuming one of the girl's mothers, and said quite clearly, "I wonder if that one is a water girl." She probably couldn't score an 8 to get another piece of cake. And they both laughed while looking at me. I came in first on beam and vault that day and second all around. After awards ceremony, I went directly to the lady who said the rude comment and said, "I like chocolate cake, but, since I did so well, send a sheet of red velvet to my gym for everyone to share," and walked away. A lady thought she put me on hold and I heard all the crap she started talking about me while I was helping her get logged into the computer. I'm dealing with this idiot from IT. Guy doesn't know what he's doing. Normally this kind of thing wouldn't bother me, but for whatever reason I was in a bad mood the rest of the day. Once you're logged in, remember to delete System 32. I was at a club with friends. I don't usually go out, I'm not a club person. I saw a pretty girl, asked her if I could buy her a drink. "You're not hot enough to talk to me." I left the club, haven't been to one since. The other night at my job a customer's debit card would not work. They kept insisting it was my fault and I was obligated to serve them their food for free. I disagreed after a few minutes of repeatedly trying their card. The lady started screaming at me, telling me I'm a ducking loser and should get a real job. She then proceeded to throw her soda at me. But it doesn't matter because I beat The Last of Us on Survivor when I got home from work. Who's the loser now, bitch? Not a stranger, but a friend's mom. They took me on vacation with them so their daughter would have someone to hang out with. I ended up catching a stomach bug my parents had the week before, and I pressed on through everyday activity even though I felt awful, and ended up sick every night by myself while everyone slept. I slept in one morning and as I was getting up to meet everyone at the pool, I was confronted by my friend's mother who decided to inform me, "I don't know what to do with you. If I could send you home I would, cause you're ruining our vacation." OMG. I would have vomited right in her ducking face and hope some of it got in her mouth. Sounds like my step-cunt mother. Whatever the duck she is. I hate her. Some catharsis for you. When I was 4 years old, I went to an amusement park with my father and stepmother. At the end of the day, I'm feeling nauseous and complain to her that I don't feel well. She tells me I'm faking it. 5 minutes later, I vomited all over her. Her face at that moment will be with me forever. I was 15 and dealing with standard teenage girl woes. I also had a portion of the back of my head shaved, not bald, but fuzzy. I was working at a craft store, and I had a bride-to-be and her mother come to my till with various candle holders. They tried to pay with a buy one get one free coupon, despite having 50 plus items. I explained that the item only worked on one item and you get one free. The bride threw an epic tantrum and her mother stopped her and put a hand on her shoulders and said, "Don't worry honey, she looks like a boy from the back and ugly from the front." I cried in the back room. The comment still bothers me. Think of the nightmare the groom was marrying into. Looks like he had a buy one, get one free coupon for crazy women. Wanted the bride and will be getting the mother-in-law, too. I just realized that I'm so average looking that no stranger has ever been rude to me. That means you've never worked in the fast food business. On my first day a woman accused me for not only ruining her dinner, but also claimed that I was the reason for everything bad in the world, including World War I and World War II. All because of a minor mistake my colleague in the kitchen did. I thought of this because I've recently started eating much healthier, and it reminded me of a time I was driving home when a truck full of guys pulled next to me at the stoplight when they all shouted, "You're fat," at me and made pig noises at me as they pulled away. In hindsight they were just a bunch of kids trying to get a reaction out of me, but it still bothers me to this day for some reason. So now I want to hear your stories. I was in the English town of Ipswich a couple of years ago enjoying a sausage bap, leaning against a wall about 20 feet from the entrance of a bank, when an old man, assisted by a cane in each hand, walked over to me and started yelling and poking me in the chest. "That's right, you fat useless duck, keep stuffing your ducking face. I hope you ducking choke." I was in complete shock and I said, "Well, you can duck the right off." Sadly not the greatest comeback. He chuckled and tottered off, presumably to ruin some other person's day. TLDR, Logan's Run had a valid premise. "These shoes are worth more than your life," said after bumping into some prick. "It bothers me how little someone could value human life. That would be the point at which you pull out a knife and calmly ask him how much his life is worth." I was like 8 or so and going on a trip with my family. While going through airport security, some guy emptying his pockets accidentally dumped a shit ton of coins everywhere. I started to pick them up, and as I was about to hand them to him he snagged them from my open palm and scolded me for taking things that weren't mine. Liars think everyone lies. Thieves think everyone steals. I was sitting outside enjoying the sunshine and some group of girls walked past me and one said, "EU," and they all laughed as they walked past. Something very similar to this is why I never go swimming or take my shirt off outside anymore. I've always been pale and unfortunately I have a lot of moles, mostly just flat ones, only a few raised. That, on top of being scrawny and short as a kid, made me really self-conscious about my body growing up. I was about 14 and in line for a water slide at an amusement park when a girl my age who was behind me in line said, "Gross," and her friend kind of laughed and told her to stop being mean. I ever so slowly turned my head around, hoping that she wasn't talking about me, but was met with a stare from her emanating this burning hatred. Like my existence as a short dude without a tan and six-pack being in her presence offended her greatly. The audacity of a guy like me to try and have fun at a water park. Ducking awkward and upsetting. I haven't taken my shirt off in public since then. It's been 16 years. It's weird how long the effects from something hurtful like that can stick around. Was running with a friend of mine with a similar name. A cute girl walks by and greets my friend by name. Unfortunately, since I was ahead and was closer up front, I said hi back. She replied with, "You bitch." You just misunderstood her is all. What she meant was you. As in, she thought you were a female sheep. Yeah, that bitch. I was a waitress in college at a family restaurant. If you've ever waited tables, you're probably familiar with the church crowd rush. For those not familiar, the church crowd rush is the busiest time of the week, full of some of the rudest people and worst tippers. On this particular day, I was working a double and was nearing the end of my shift when my last table was sat. These people ordered waters, lots of lemons, and extra sugar packets to make their own lemonade, requested tons of free bread with extra butter and constantly had me running around for extra something. Anyways, they ordered their meals and extra sides, so I rang them up as meals with 3 sides to save them about $2 per meal. When the check came, I explained this to the matriarch of the table. She didn't understand it and demanded I take off the extra charges and ring it up as they ordered it. She told me that if I couldn't even get a receipt right, I probably couldn't do much else right, and would never amount to anything, which is why I was a server to begin with. I walked away, rang up the receipt the way she wanted it, which was an extra $8, dropped it off and said, "Here you go." I rang it in the right way rather than the smart way. I refused to change it back. Love it. Ever get the church crowd ducks who tell you you're going to hell for working on Sunday? Yeah, happened to me. Hell doesn't seem so bad if heaven is full of people like that. Ever get the ones who leave you religious propaganda instead of a tip? The best part is that it's printed to look like money, but when you flip it over it says, "Here's a tip, accept Jesus into your heart." Dante would have created a 10th circle of hell just for those people. Had a lady come up to me at the mall and tell me, "Your skin looks horrible. You should really go to a dermatologist." The worst part was that she kept harassing me, and it made me feel even worse because although I had gone before, I couldn't afford the medication. Take a look around you. I think you're a little different than everyone else here. I'm an adopted Korean that grew up in a nearly all-white farm town until college. That guy's just jealous he doesn't have the Asian persuasion. Once you go Asian, you'll never see things quite the same way again. Half-breed. I was 14 and at the mall with my mom, Irish, and my dad, Japanese. To be fair, I'm almost certain that this person was mentally ill and pushing 90 years old. Umbrage? It wasn't to me, but about me, and I heard. Some lady at the beach bent down to who, I assume, is her daughter, and said, "I hope you don't turn out like him." I know she meant me by him because she tried to discreetly point to me. I flipped her off after hearing this. I'm in a wheelchair, but I have a perfect GPA and great friends, so my life rocks aside from the wheelchair.